So Col, you're off to the Commonwealth Games in a few days. Tell us, what's the preparation been like?
A hell of a lot of swimming. The last couple of weeks and months has just been train. I haven't missed a session in about a year in the lead up to the Commonwealth Games, so I'm really excited to race. And in the final weeks of preparation, the final days, it's just resting. Sleep as much as I can, hydrate as much, fuel my body as best I can, and just recover and rest and just get ready for race day.
Tell us about the flight over. How do you survive that and get ready to swim well?
I hate flying. I struggle with it. I think in preparation for it, about 3 or 4 days leading into it, I just drink as much as I can. I load up on milk, electrolytes, water, salt, everything to make sure my body's as fully hydrated as I possibly can be. Because another important thing is to sleep on the flight too. So if you're constantly waking up needing the bathroom, that can get quite frustrating. But before the Com Games actually start, we actually fly to Germany for 2.5 weeks to adapt to the weather, the food, jet lag, fatigue, if we have any health problems, just so we're putting our bodies in the best possible position for racing. But I think for the flight, I tend to pack like some snacks because obviously the flight food isn't overly filling or isn't actually that good for you. So they encourage us to bring our own snacks. I'm very big on just cheese and crackers. And maybe not so much fruit, but something like a muesli bar, which is high in fibre, to try and make me as full as I can, as long as I can really for the flight. So eat, sleep, and most importantly, hydrate is, I guess, my tips and what I struggle with the most.
Yeah. So the Commonwealth Games is unique in that the Paralympians and the Olympians all come together as one big team, and perform at the same time. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's probably one of my favourite events to compete in is the Commonwealth, because I train an Olympic program and now I get to be on a team with the people I train with. And I think a lot of other people as well, it comes back to the old saying of you can't be what you can't see. And so when the whole of Australia is watching the Com Games, not only are we watching our amazing Olympic athletes, but alongside them is our Paralympic athletes like myself. So it's a great way for people across the country to recognise both Olympic and Paralympic talent, because come 2028, 2032, they're both segregated from each other. They both mean the same thing, win for the country, performance when it matters. But at the Com Games, both the medals which the Paralympians and the Olympians will win just goes into the same total. I think it's something like Australia are predicted to win the medal tally this year, which is great because knowing that me as an athlete are contributing to the country as one, both Olympic and Paralympic. So it's really special, but more special in the fact that I get to watch some of my best friends who are on the Olympic team win medals, achieve amazing things alongside me.
Yeah, that's so important. Tell us a little bit about the Paralympian events and the categories. A lot of Australians probably don't understand what goes into those or how they're classified.
Yeah, so basically in para swimming, think of it as like weight classes or age group classes. So in para swimming, you've got S1 to S10, which is all physical impairments. S1 being the most impaired you can be, S10 being the least impaired. So for me, being S10, I'm only missing my right foot. So that's essentially the most amount of limbs you can be missing in the water. Then you've got from S11 to 14. So you've got 11, 12, 13, which is a blind spectrum. So simply to put, S11 is completely blind, S12 is, blind, it's in the middle, and then S13's very vividly blind. And then S14 is intellectual impairment. So you've kind of got 3 categories: physical impairment, blind or vision impaired, and then intellectually impaired. And we all come together, compete, but we have different categories. So me being S10, I'll compete against other S10 athletes. I'm not competing against S8 or S13 or S2, solely just S10. Same as if 13-year-olds versus 13-year-olds, 15-year-olds against 15-year-olds, or in, maybe combat sports, lightweights versus lightweights, heavyweights against heavyweights. So in the para world, it can be very confusing at first, and take the time of day to take an interest and understand the system, because it is quite interesting. And for me, I verse people who are maybe missing a wrist, missing a foot like myself, or have some form of mild cerebral palsy.
Yeah. Oh, that's so helpful. Thank you for explaining. So Col, as an amputee, tell me, and it was an injury that happened quite young. You were two years old from memory. Tell us how that impacted your training and perhaps motivated you.
Yeah, well, I lost my foot at the age of 2 to a lawnmower, and I was actually in the water before I lost my foot. So as a young kid, from essentially 0 to 2, I was learning to swim with 2 hands and 2 feet. and then the accident happened of me losing my right foot. So then I had to sort of relearn how to swim in a straight line. So often, you know, when you've got 2 hands and 2 feet, there's an even amount of power coming from both limbs. Then when you lose, and I like to say, you had 4 wheels on the car, I'm down to 3. So you've got to sort of relearn how to drive straight, or swim straight in that case. And I think it was a motivator for me because I was always a competitive person. I wanted to be a professional athlete my whole life, and having something like the Paralympics gave me the opportunity to be a professional athlete. So I remember in grade 3, which I think I was about 9 years old, it was during the 2012 Paralympics. That was the first time I saw other Paralympians swim on the TV. And the night I grew up watching Col, who is my childhood hero. And I remember watching her win like 4 Paralympic gold medals and making the decision of, I want to go to the Paralympics. I knew I wasn't going to play AFL for the Geelong Cats, or soccer for the Australian soccer team, or rugby for the Wallabies, but I could represent Australia in the Paralympics. So I set the goal at 9 years old in 2012, and essentially that's what motivates me on a daily basis as well, is coming from such a remote area on a dairy farm. It gives me the motivation, the courage to be better and motivate Australians across the country, because I love the saying, you can't be what you can't see. Now, I grew up on watching our Paralympians compete at the Paralympics, 2012 London Paralympics in particular, and now it's my turn to have that same influence on every Australian across the country.
And you're such a great role model. I think, you know, bringing it back to the farm, I guess, I get the sense that, you know, losing a foot didn't mean that you got to chop out on the farm and the jobs.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, because everyone in my family and all the friends and everyone I grew up around on the farm didn't care. Yeah. They did not care I had 1 foot. If anything, they gave me a hard time about it, because I was such an energetic kid with a lot of confidence. It's just who I am. And growing up on a dairy farm, it's taught me a lot, not only about my disability, but also just life in general, that, you know, nothing in life is guaranteed. You've got to work for it. And coming from such a beautiful family who never treated me any differently has made me the athlete who I am today.
That's incredible. Thanks, Col.